Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those that prefer to maintain a level of mystery, my name is Jeff with the G, and welcome to the Devil's Hour. How you guys doing? This is kind of a redo. I did this the other night, but it didn't seem to record, or at least it went strictly live for people. So we're going to do a recording here, so that way it's available to those people elsewhere. What's really cool about this show is I'm able to kind of do that. Pretty cool. This is going to be your Wednesday night debacle. We're going to be live every Wednesday on Twitch, www.twitch.tv/Jeff_with a G, all lowercase. So it's nice and cool and fun and groovy and all like that. This is quote unquote season 2 of the show. If you didn't see season 1, that's fair. It was a live show in Houston, Texas. I am no longer in Houston, and we can't do live shows right now, so I figured this is a good way for me to still keep doing this show. We got a lot of really great things going on tonight. We've got some acts that are actually going to be on screen for you guys to peruse at your pleasure. We've got Gigi Deluxe, all the way from New Orleans, Louisiana, performing some cool sideshow stuff, and we got the latest video from a really, really great band of people I know named Forever Miles out of Houston, Texas. But to get started and have fun and be groovy and stuff like that, let's get going. So with all this social distancing and quarantines, we have this new thing that's keeping us occupied going forward, and that is not that. It is that. Animal Crossing, New Horizons on the Nintendo Switch. Now, it's a lovely romp of animals interacting, buying real estate, doing weird mundane jobs, and just being adorable. Think The Sims, but cuddlier. And what's really cool is you can also interact with your friends from across the globe. So that way, even though you are maybe lonely, you're not alone. But I'm really glad that now there's something for all you furries out there to have a digital voice. If you don't know what a furry is, Google that, and please, with this internet safety search off. I look forward to hearing the gasps while sequestered here in my quarantine apartment. Now, the only thing about having such a show like that, sometimes later on you'll see some live things coming across, because when there may be cuddly animals and tigers about, there is that bitch, Carol Baskins. Tiger King. If you haven't watched Tiger King, you should. It's amazing. I love it. The episode 1 show of season 2, which you can catch on my Twitch channel, that I played during the Cabin Fever live stream, which you guys saw briefly, me putting up their donate page. A totally worthwhile thing. In fact, I'm just going to go do it now. Right there on my corner, there's all my information. So if you like the show and want to contribute, please do so. It has my contact information. It has my Venmo, my PayPal, all that sort of fun stuff like that. If you also want to give to more artists and stuff like that, which I totally recommend doing. In fact, so much so that if you want to contribute to go watch their shows and stuff like that, I will occasionally do stuff on there. Make sure you go to Cabin Fever live stream on Twitch, and then you can donate to that right there, which goes to all the money that gets raised there goes to all the artists that perform on that live stream, and it's totally worthwhile. Anyway, back to the show. Good news for all you gamers out there who can now be considered quote-unquote responsible citizens versus deplorable, stinky shut-ins. The ultimate in snack food has arrived, believe it or not. The ultimate snack food. That's right. Doritos has released a Mountain Dew flavored snack chip. For those of you who don't know what shame and giving up tastes like. Now, there is one caveat to getting these chips. However, they are currently only available limited edition in Australia. which goes again once again proves that once again everything in Australia is out to get you. I really love the little do the do arm tat. Makes it that much more dangerous. Dumb jokes. If you enjoy the jokes, great. If you don't, well, they make me laugh, and I guess that's how it works. And like that, I don't sound like I have an audience to test this stuff out on, so that's how it works. Now, not all people are descending into the void of video games and despair. Some of us are actually taking this opportunity to showcase our abilities and things to do on such sites as YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. For those people who do not feel they are talented in those respects, are turning to other channels of which to show off their assets, like Chatterbait and OnlyFans. For people who don't know what those channels are, once again, do the Google search. Safety mode off. And all I like to say is bravo and brava to all the people who are taking part in these various channels and avenues and stuff like that. It's amazing you're doing it. And it's really cool because that way sometimes you might get a silly song and a sexy pic, or maybe a sexy song, or some silly pics, or some sexy silly songs, and a lot of pics. It's amazing to see. Now, you do have to understand that value is in the eye of the beholder. And sometimes you might not be able to make rich off this sort of thing. But make sure you also don't undersell yourself as well. You are worthwhile. Charge what you believe is fair. And for those of you that demonize and belittle such work, you know who you are, Karen. I just got one thing to say to you. Actually, two things. So if you could, please come up closer to the camera. Come on. All the way up. All the way up. All the way up. All the way up. You hear me? You hear what I have to say? This is what I have to say to you. Screw you. That is right. How dare you belittle and bemoan people just because you are not comfortable with who you are in life and how you look? Don't take that on somebody else who's confident and sexy and wants to show off their wares, whatever it is, whether it's sex work, whether it's playing guitar, telling jokes, doing some dumb internet show, whatever. Just accept your shit and move on. And besides, we already know you're going to look, you're going to subscribe, with all those secret fappings behind locked doors underneath your favorite religious iconography, which does not sound like a word, but it is. Just own your shit and move on. And be happy with who you are and how you are. And if so, choose to put your stuff out too. That's what you like. Consent is everything, after all. I guarantee there's somebody's going to want to do it. Not everybody's going to want it, but you'd be surprised at people who would want it. All right, now speaking of people who know their worth, Amazon workers and Instacart drivers have been staging various levels of protest. Yes, protest. They've been doing such things as slowdowns, out-and-out strikes, sick-outs, walkouts, just amazing sort of thing that we can do. Now, take that off. Now, unfortunately, Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon and probably the richest man in the solar system at the very least, could not be reaching for comment. Hopefully, he's doing something worthwhile that can help out with people, but I really don't know. It's funny because it's true. All right, and speaking of powerful men who have no clue about the common people, Texas Governor Greg Shitstain Abbott just issued an order that religious institutions such as churches, synagogues, and mosques can now reconvene live services to the masses, quote unquote, if they have no ways to do it online. Now, these places are supposed to follow the social distancing rules, which means 6 feet between disease vectors, because that's what's going to end up happening. Or doing things like such things as what they call drive-up services. A drive-up service is essentially like a drive-in movie, but with even shittier entertainment that's hard to make out to. I mean, after all, when the Vans are rockin', don't come knockin' with the word of the Lord. I mean, I'm pretty sure she was screaming, "Oh God," to everybody out there. Alrighty. So as I said, we got a really good thing going on for the show tonight. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor, and we'll have some more fun. Okay? Bye.
Is your bar looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
That's right, Old Humble Whiskey. I am actually a huge proponent of whiskey. Let me pour myself a drink right now. Old Humble's actually been sponsoring my shows for a bit now. Live shows. They're also taking part of the internet show too, so thank you. Just like Mama used to make. All right, let's talk about our first guest. That's right, I do have guests on the show of a sort. Rather, I have video of people that I'm going to be showing you guys for the show. The first person I've got video for, is a good friend of mine out of New Orleans, Louisiana. She is an amazing sideshow performer and a brilliant tattoo artist. She did a tattoo on me, which I'll showcase later in the show. And all around, just a great, lovely, and wonderful person. I met her at a thing called the Great Southern Sideshow Hootenanny, which hats off to you guys. It's in 2018. She was part of the Legends Showcase, where she did a lot of amazing things. And then she was part of one of the first shows I produced here in Houston, and there in Houston. So I'm really happy to have her be part of one of my inaugural online things as well. Now, the video showcasing her show I did with her. You can notice me in the background with a little bit shorter hair of a different color and a red-hatted jacket. It was in a darker kind of restaurant-y bar sort of situation, so the video isn't great, but you can still see everything she's doing, so it's still worthwhile. So if you could, please give it up for the one, the only, Ms. Gigi Deluxe. Gigi Deluxe, everybody. And as you noticed at the bottom of her page, actually, the screen also showed her tipping information and her contact information. So that way, whenever this is over with, you want to book her. It is completely worthwhile, and I'm showcasing something to get ahead of stuff. How nice of me. I'll explain what that is in a minute. Professional. All right, let's talk a little history, because part of the reason why Gigi's there and stuff like that, and why I'm doing this now, is because I fell in love with the thing called Sideshow, and so I like to talk about it a lot. So I thought I'd do a little history for part of the show to kind of give you some of my love of what this stuff is. So I want to talk about some history as far as with Sideshow, specifically Texas Sideshow right now, just because we're in Texas, or at least I am. So I want to kind of talk about that for a bit. And I can't think of the. I was trying to think of who the biggest person to talk about now, so I figured I'd go literal. So what I want to do is I want to talk about the Texas Giant, Pecos Bill, aka Big Jack Earl. And why I like his story a lot is because he's like the ultimate idea as far as big things come in small packages. All right, the reason why is he was born in 1906 in Colorado, and he weighed less than 4 pounds. So he's a little bitty baby. Family then moved off to El Paso, Texas, where he grew up, and as a child, he was still considered very small for his age. And then as he hit about 10 years old, he ended up being by that point in time, he ended up being over 6 feet tall. Now I'm 6'2", and so a 10-year-old child would be looking at me eye to eye, which is kind of weird and creepy, but also awesome. Now, at the age of 13, he and his father made their way out to Los Angeles. And Jackie Boy there got discovered by Hollywood. With some convincing and stuff like that happened, he actually ended up being in Hollywood. Oh, let me I got ahead of stuff. That's Big Jack Earl right there, by the way. Give you a hint. He went to Hollywood. He ended up doing over 30 silent films. Like this right here. That's actually a picture of him in one of the films. He's a teenager in that film. So that gives you a hint on how big this man was at a teenager. His his Hollywood life got cut short because while working on a film, he fell off some scaffolding and broke his nose. Now, when he went to the doctor, as he was looking at the doctor and getting retreated, his vision started to get blurry before it went out entirely. Doctors looked in to see what was going on. It turned out he had a tumor on his pituitary gland, which is the thing that regulates growth, that was pushing up against his optic nerve, which is why he couldn't see. So the doctors treated it, and after 4 months of x-ray treatments, which was a precursor to dealing with cancer and tumors and stuff like that, because this was like 1920s, his vision returned, and also his growth stopped at a whopping 8 feet and 6 inches. That's right. Had they not treated the tumor, he would have kept growing. So 8 feet 6 inches. Crazy. Now, while he did retire from Hollywood, it did not seem that showbiz had enough of him yet. And so Ringling Brothers Circus actually went to Jack and offered him a 1-year contract, a really fat, amazing contract to be a showcase piece for them. Now, any of my circus friends, sideshow friends, stuff like that, know that it's never just 1 year. It's never just one contract. If you're halfway decent, 1 year becomes 3, which becomes 12, which becomes 14. He was not that one. He was in the circus for over 14 years. Yes, that's him with an elephant. I believe that has to be a pygmy elephant because, I mean, most elephants are a good 12, 15 feet high, depending if it's a size ones. But still, it's still crazy right there, huh? Another thing to give you an idea how tall this man was. Now, what's really cool is when they do when sideshow and circus, when sideshow people, especially when they're touring around with these things, like a lot of times they'll do get a contract, but they'll get paid at the end of the week or the end of the month or something like that, and so they still have to have money, to pocket money to run around because, yeah, I get $20 to last me the month, which is a lot of money for the time. Usually by after the first week it's gone, so I still have to make money and make ends meet and just eat and stuff, or want to do stuff more than just eat with the line has. I want to have some pocket cash, and so a lot of times what we'll do is we'll have little trinkets and things ranging anywhere from pitch cards, which are like postcards with a picture of them on one side and information on the back, or with the Giants, a lot of the giant men who toured around, they had things called giant rings, and we'll do this. If we can kind of see it better. It is a giant ring. What that is it's actually size for one of his fingers. So, to give you a hint, that what also makes it cool is that they're stamped as well. I'll see if we get to the camera here, something like that, with their name and size and stuff like that. Whatever. So it's really, really cool. So I was really lucky to get this piece at a really cool shop in Las Vegas earlier this year. So shout out to the Strange Remains curio shop. They're really, really great people. They're right by the place who got me this tattoo. You can't see well. Oh well. Anyway, now after those 14 years, Jackie was just tired of the road. I mean, it's a big grind in general, and for a man that big, nothing fits, and so he's having to squeeze into stuff more often. So it just wears on you after a long time. So he decided to retire once again from showbiz, and so he returned back to California, where he actually worked as a salesman and kind of like a PR rep for the Roma Wine Company, and, which is really cool. Here's one more cool pic of him with some ladies. He also occupied his time sculpting, painting, did photography, he wrote poetry, and he even published a book called The Long Shadows. And then he returned home one day to his hometown of El Paso, and he ended up dying at the age of 46. So really amazing. Jack Earl, everybody. It was so good. My dog is drinking water, and it happens to be right here by the phone. So if you hear the noise, that's why. So I want to treat you guys to something also really, really cool. If you'd like, my next part of the next act, I guess, that I'm bringing up will be the brand new music video for this really cool band called Forever Miles. Now, they're a 2-piece rock and blues act out of Houston, Texas, that contains 2 amazing brothers, Adrian and Andy Martinez, who, with the help of talented friends, create a unique and excited live experience. Now, they are currently working on their new EP, but you can still pick up their first self-titled EP. There we go. See, I explained it. It's like right there. On all the downloadable sites. So whether it's like iTunes, Spotify, etc., Amazon Music, I'm sure. And please make a point to actually buy the records versus just stream them, if only because that helps them out, because they're local artists, and we're trying to do everything we can to help everybody out artist-wise. And the album's worthwhile. As I said, back to this. First record right there, self-titled. So here's the video off the first track of that EP called Midnight.
just mine. I can hear your steps walk away. Lips held tight. I wonder what you will say as I run and hide. To shake these fears, wasting all of these years. Say you don't wanna love me in the middle of the night. Say you don't wanna fix it in the middle of the night. I can feel your steps fade away. Arms open, I wonder what you will say as I run and hide. To shake these fears, wasted all of these years. Say you don't wanna love me in the middle of the night. Say you don't wanna fix it in the middle of the I can feel your heart fade away. Arms open, I wonder what I will say as I run and hide. To shake these fears, wasting all of these years. Say you don't wanna love me in the middle of the night. Say you don't wanna fix it in the middle of the. Say you don't wanna love me in the middle of the night. Say you don't wanna fix it in the middle of the night.
Forever Miles, everybody. Really, really great people. I actually met the brothers due to another band who I'm signed to wear their rep right here, which is Another Run. Also a great band. You should check it out. So if you're interested in being part of the show with me dropping some stuff like that, or like Gigi and stuff like that, please drop me a line for the show specifically. You can reach the Devil's Exhibit at gmail.com, Devil's Exhibit at gmail.com. Then we'll see about getting you on the show for some stuff like that. It'll be a lot of fun and cool. If you are enjoying the show, you can take a look at my stuff right there. As far as with Venmo and PayPal, all the money goes there. Helps me keep my dog fed and things like that. So if you don't mind, we'll be right back after this commercial from our sponsor.
Is your bar looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
Cheers, Old Humble, everybody. So lovely and wonderful. I love it. As I mentioned earlier, you can hear my chance you heard my dog walking around. I decided to take a moment with him and actually ask him how business was and how he liked what's going on. So please give it up for my dog, Shinobi, the Siberian Husky. Hi, Shinobi. So let's talk about the issues that are happening today, okay? So why don't you tell me about what's going on? What do you think? How do you feel about the quarantine going on, huh? How do you feel about it? Do you feel good or do you feel bad? You're so definitive there with your statement. Now, what do you think the economic turmoil is going to be happening with this, huh? What do you think the economic turmoil is going to be happening with this sort of thing? Shinobi, do you think there'll be problems with that? I can totally understand where you're coming from. Now, one last question. Now, please, one last question before we go. Shinobi, one last question. How have you been spending your time doing quarantine, huh? That's really fascinating. Thank you for giving us so much of your time, Shinobi. I hope you feel better soon. All right, bye. My dog Shinobi, everybody. Hopefully he'll have some more fun things to talk about at a later time. All right. So next up is bringing back on stage onto the thing for Gigi Deluxe. As I said, she was my tattoo artist as well. You can catch her at the Catahoula Tattoo Parlor in New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, she is by appointment only, but luckily I have her contact information you can have for her, so that way you can try to arrange that sort of thing when we're able to travel and do stuff again. So, what I got here, that's what she did for me. I let her choose what to put on my body, and I trusted her, and so she knew she wanted to do this sort of thing and knew I would be one who rocked it really, really well. I hope to sometime soon add more to it to kind of create a sleeve base and all that fun stuff. So as I said, she's coming back up. She's an amazing performer, as you saw earlier in the show. You've got another bit here. For, also really this is also recorded from the same show from the previous one, so I apologize if the video quality isn't the best possible. Just it was very dark in that place. It's an amazing spot in Houston, Texas. That's the Art Nouveau Antique Bar, or the Nouveau Art Antique Bar. You can track it down, put those words together. It's a really nice space. I did shows there for a while before moving on to other places. I do recommend them in general. So it's a nice space and really work with you, so I really like it a lot. So if you could, please give it up once again for the one, the only, Miss Gigi Deluxe, the femme fatale of Sideshow. once again, Gigi Deluxe, everybody. Wasn't she amazing? What's really cool, she even does other stuff beyond that. She's also a world-class archer and does some crazy stuff with archery on stage. I definitely recommend you check her out any place in any way you can. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I want to give once more. I'm going to give love to the people who were on the show tonight. So once again, I want to make sure you get their information there. So Gigi Deluxe, that's her contact email. So if you want to book her for shows, when we can do so, or if you want to book her for a tattoo session, that's the only place to do that as well. And then there, if you liked her performance there's her tipping information as well. In addition, we also had Forever Miles. That is our contact information to book them too. They're out of Houston, Texas, but I know they perform in Austin quite a bit, and a lot of the fun stuff like that. And you can also check out their record on SoundCloud.com. Make sure you buy their records, EPs, and stuff wherever you can. They are definitely worthwhile to do so. There we go. Ba-ba. All right, and if you're want to be part of the show, we'd love to have you part of the show. So if you are a musician / band and you want to showcase your new video, or you want to send me a video, I can broadcast you to play music. You're an entertainer of pretty much any sort. There's some small rules when it comes to people like burlesque and stuff like that, but we can talk about that online. Circus, of course, comedians, filmmakers. So if you have a trailer for a new film, or a short film you want to show that's about 5 minutes in length, that's great. That's the one caveat, to make sure nothing's more than 5 minutes. And we'll go from there. I'll be happy to hype and talk about your stuff here on screen. And hopefully we'll get you guys in the eyes of people who would not necessarily see such things, and have you make new friends and fans. Cool. You can reach me for all that stuff right here at devilsexhibit@gmail.com, right here below me, devilsexhibit@gmail.com. I'd love to have you, and would love to take care of you and stuff like that. Just drop me a line and we'll figure something out. All right. The reason I started doing this show, and let's look beyond just this show, but like when I started doing stage shows, the reason I started doing this stuff is because I like lots of different sort of things. And so I go and see lots of different sort of things. But I noticed that outside of a couple of people, most people stay within their kind of circuit of stuff. And so they don't get a chance to be exposed to some new and different things. So I didn't like that. So I wanted to start putting shows together that kind of encapsulate basically all the stuff I like. And I want to make sure that people get to see this other stuff. So, you may not have been familiar with Gigi Deluxe before, but now you are. Because you came on here because you go, hey, I like Forever Miles. Or if you're going to like Gigi Deluxe and checking out this new band, Forever Miles, so on and so forth. And then as we start doing more and more of these shows, I'll help, try to integrate. We're going to mix that pot around with interests and stuff like that. Because that's what makes it worthwhile. Because you see, we are all separated right now. And we may feel lonely. We are not alone. Our hearts as a species doesn't lie in our government, doesn't lie in our businesses, it doesn't even lie in our cities and towns. The heart of our species resides within the artists. And right now our heart is hurting because they aren't able to fully do the thing they want to do. Because a lot of really great artists really done live, and when you can't go out and do stuff, it makes it hurt for them. So this type of show allows me to have some of that avenue to do so. That's why their information is given for make sure you tip them nice and generously. I can tell you right now, any money you send to me, I'm just going to probably end up tipping to my other performer friends to make sure they're taken care of. And some of those performer friends you'll probably see on this show soon too. I don't know. But please, if you can, do so, tip generously. And if you can't, like these people on the various social media, spread the gospel that is these performers, because that's the other way to make it work. So even if all you can do is give the time to make other people aware of it, that's still a very generous gift. Um, and then when you can give and start doing stuff, please try and do so. I mean, that's how it works. And then when the circle comes around, you'll get that help in doing stuff too. So, as I said, thank you very much for coming onto the show, seeing the show tonight. I will be doing this every Wednesday at 10 o'clock on Twitch Live, and then I will at some point be showcasing the replays later. Twitch is worthwhile, if only because you can actually interact with me live on screen. Because I'll talk back and forth with you, I don't mind. Otherwise, you catch stuff later, and then just please, if you can tip, do so. We really all appreciate it. It's very worthwhile for any help you can give. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you soon.